Why is your avoidant ex making you out to be the bad guy when they're the one who abruptly ended the relationship? Let's talk avoidant rationalizations. Avoidantly attached people often rationalise their behaviour and actions in order for them to avoid feeling shame and accountability, and sometimes embarrassment, for their actions. It's all about avoiding shame and vulnerability, and here's why. Firstly, defensiveness as protection. If they admit that they did what they did because of their own internal fears, defensiveness, and fears of vulnerability, then that brings them up against their own wounds, and that's very uncomfortable. And some people may not even be aware that that is why they did what they did. But on some level, they do know that there is something happening inside of them. They just don't want to face it. Secondly, this one's very common, projection. It is so much easier for them to flip the script and make you the problem. If they frame you as being too needy, too emotional, or too much, that is so much easier for them to justify their behaviour. And in doing that, they don't have to face their own patterns of behaviour and their own internal state. Thirdly, the self-justification loop. Avoidance will often minimise the impact of their actions to maintain distance from the impact of those actions on you emotionally. Making you out to be the bad guy allows them to keep the story nice and neat and justified in their head. And lastly, which is very common as well, the fear of vulnerability. Deep down, they may care, but feeling all of those feelings is too risky, and it brings up those fears, which equates to a defense mechanism, which is often a large driver for them abruptly exiting the relationship. So rationalizing their behavior and actions with blame towards you creates a buffer between them and that risk. It is not healthy and it's not okay. But it is something that is unfortunately very common. So just remember, when your avoidant ex is making you out to be the villain, it is not really about you. It's their nervous system and defense mechanisms working overtime to try and protect themselves from the shame, embarrassment, the intimacy, and the loss of the relationship. Now, this doesn't apply to everyone. There are many instances where relationships are meant to end because values may not align. The life circumstance may be changing. What I'm talking about in this specific example is when you were with an avoidant and it seemed like the relationship was going well, it was progressing nicely, and then all of a sudden there was this abrupt breakup, and then this person is painting you out to be the bad guy, and none of it makes sense because it is a complete distortion of the reality of what happened. Now, just remember, this specific example won't apply to everyone. There is so much nuance that exists when we're talking about attachment theory, relationships, relational dynamics, and relationship breakups. So take it with a grain of salt. If it doesn't apply to you, that is okay. But there are many of you that it will.